Hello, everybody, and welcome to the giant conversation that is Topic Talks. I'm your host, Aaron Clingy Smith, and joining me once again is Mark.
Hello, everybody.
So, Mark and I have had an awesome day today. We kind of in class, it was kind of a lounge around day, so we had some time to get a lot done. So, we got a lot of really cool stories for you, not all of which are happy stories. The one that I'm going to start off with isn't too happy of a story. Talk about jumping right to the chase. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we're gonna start off with our news first. So the first thing that I got is sadly Arnold Palmer, not the drink, the guy they named the drink after. He died at the age of 87. He died, I think it was last night.
That's what I'm hearing. It's really sad to hear. I mean, he was a real professional golfer. He was one of the few that wasn't involved in half a dozen scandals. But he was a really respectable man, and as far as the Arnold Palmer drinks, I used to drink those all the time. I not so much anymore. But you know, from everything I've known about Arnold Palmer, I'm not a huge golf person, or a sport person in general. But if I were to, pick, a favorite golfer, it would probably be Arnold Palmer, just because he was so respectable.
Well, one of the cool things, I didn't know much about him. I knew he was a golfer. I found out, and I knew he was kind of the king of golf. He's one of those people that was kind of considered like he mastered the sport. He became really good at it. He actually received a couple medals for something other than golf. He got the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2004, and then 8 years later got the Congressional Gold Medal. So I mean, those are some high awards, and it didn't really say what he did to get those, but I mean, I've heard that he went to state capitals and just signed autographs for people. He would one of his biggest pieces of advice for new golfers that were starting the pro tour is take time to sign the autographs. Don't rush it. Have a little bit of a conversation with these people. You know, he's like the your fans are the reason that you're famous. The reason that you're able to do what you love. So, and I think that's kind of cool. He was a person that would take time, and he wouldn't rush to the next hole. He would take time and sign autographs, and I've always liked that. There was a tour called the Buick Open by where I live, and I love to go there because when they were going from hole to hole, it was so cool to see, some of the big names like John Daly and people like that. Tiger Woods, not so much, but I mean, he was there, but he didn't sign many autographs.
Honestly, I haven't heard much about Tiger Woods in the past few years. I mean, after that whole scandal, it seems kind of like he dropped off the radar a bit.
Nah, he's still there. Um, no, but then you've got a lot of really good guys. I didn't caddy. I held the sign. They have the big green signs that kind of tell you who's up and who's down and whatnot, kind of what's going on. I held one of those for a really nice guy, um, and it was just like a lot of these guys are awesome, and then you've got those few that aren't that great. But Arnold Palmer is one of those people that kind of set that to be a thing. He anybody who talked to him, he said, you you need to be here, and you need to, you know, stop and sign autographs. You need to, have a conversation, and I think that's kind of cool. A lot of celebrities in general, not just like golf celebrities, but a lot of celebrities in general don't really understand that. Some of them are just like, "Oh, I'm famous, I'm better than you." Well, that's not it. You're famous because of these people that you're saying that you're better
Ex-
than.
Exactly. I mean, you got to think when it comes to being famous, it literally is, the people who make you. That's what fame is. Everyone loves you. You know.
Yeah, that's one thing that so I have a lot of respect for him. Um, and I kind of really didn't know much about him, and I'm kind of sad I didn't. I wish I was able to see him play and be a little bit more interested in him. It was said that he died from a heart condition, um, but he over his lifespan he was a successful businessman. Um, He was an advertising spokesman. He's a talented golf course designer, experienced aviator. He did a lot of things.
Really, he was an aviator?
Yep, that's what it said.
I didn't even realize that. I mean, I didn't even realize that he was involved with so much. I thought Arnold Palmer was just, into golfing.
Nope, he did a lot. He did a lot more than just golf. And I don't know if you saw it. He did the commercials for the Xaralto.
Oh no, what was the Zoratal?
It's I think it's like a blood thinner. It's for AFib people with.
Oh, it's like a medical thing.
Yep, it's a medicine.
Well, that's cool. Getting active in all these different fields. I mean, it's really impressive. He's to be such a well-rounded man, and that's surprising because it's most people only knew him as a golfer, just and that a lot of the time that was just because of the iced tea lemonade and all that, But another actor that a lot of people don't even realize how much he was involved in was Paul Walker. I mean, I know we've talked about Paul quite a few times on the show, but he was involved in quite a bit. Like he was in a ocean reservation program or organization. I think he helped fund and all that stuff, but he was like out on the ocean working with them on all kinds of marine biology stuff. Um, then there was all his movies, and I remember there was something else too. But it's some people are so well rounded, and they help so many people or organizations and other people to accomplish such great goals, and just remember them for the little things. Like, I mean, for Paul, it was just for his movies, or for Arnold Palmer, it was for
Golf
golf
and
and
his drinks.
his drinks,
His
which
drinks.
were very tasty.
They are.
Actually, I haven't had one in a while, but you know what? Next time I see one, I think I might have one in honor of him.
It's kind of cool. I just looked it up. Arnold Palmer did these Xaralto commercials with Kevin Nielsen, Ryan Vickers, and it was kind of cool because some of the commercials, it like there was one when it showed them playing golf,
Oh,
and
that's
one of
cool.
them's a NASCAR driver, one of them's an actor, and then you've got um, Arnold Palmer who's a golfer. So it was, and they cracked a couple jokes about, him being better and stuff like that, or having or they're like, what would you have to drink? He's like, I'll have another Arnold Palmer. So it was kind of a fun commercial because it was almost like three guys getting together and just having fun. Um,
Well, sometimes that's just one of the most beautiful things, just seeing people have fun doing the simple things, You don't have to be out, wrangling bulls or jumping out of planes to be having a good time. Sometimes it's all about the simple things.
yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people didn't even know who Arnold Palmer was, but yet he did so much for people. And I don't know. It's just it's funny because he did all this stuff, but he didn't really like demand to be recognized for it.
Right. He's
Y-
just being a good person.
in Boy Scouts we have this award. It's called the Silver Beaver, and it's funny because the whole point of the award is it's given to people who least expect it. It's given to people who have donated their time to Boy Scouts when they didn't have to. You know, they were involved in a lot of things. They did a lot of fundraise. Like they were just did it because they wanted to, not to earn an award.
Right.
And I know a couple recipients of that award, and that's exactly what they do. They sit there and they, uh, you know, like a really good friend of mine got one, and he does it because he loves the outdoors, but he loves the family atmosphere you get from it. You become a family with these people, and it's one of those things where there's really nothing like it. And those are the kind of people that I think we need to have more celebrities like that. People who are doing stuff just to do it because they like it, and
Mhm.
if they become famous, they're very they'll sign autographs, but they don't demand attention. It's
Definitely not.
it's kind of like a Zach Brown band is cool. They're a country or they're a country band, and they are the kind of people that when they have what they do what called eat and greets, where they have a chef that comes and cooks food from their home, and they live in the
Really?
South, so it's a lot of Southern dishes. But at these eat and greets, you don't get autographs. You can't ask for autographs because they want to be just like you. They want to sit and have a conversation, and they'll move from table to table to table and talk to you and see how you're doing. But it's no autographs because they don't want you to treat them any different.
Well, that's actually really cool. There needs to be more stuff like that going on in our world.
There does, and I mean, like Arnold Palmer, I think was a good balance of both because he didn't just walk out and say, "Who wants my autograph?" He walked out, and if somebody asked him for it, he wouldn't be afraid to give it to him. But yet he didn't go out demanding people like just giving people headshots of himself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's honestly kind of conceited, really.
So it's kind of cool when you find artists and celebrities and that just have that mentality. Like I'm a normal person. One of our teachers have said, a lot of people look up to. They're human. They put their pants on one leg at a time.
You know what? Who said that?
Lynn.
It was Lynn. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Now I remember.
But she's like, you've got to look at some of these people, and they're just like you. They've been, in the morning they put their pants on one leg at a time, and I feel like some celebrities think they can just magically, snap their fingers and you know what I mean. It's
And their pants will be on.
right. It's one of those things where some people get too full of themselves, and I'm better than everybody else because I have money or I have a talent that nobody else has. Well, that's not really true. A lot of people have that talent.
Exactly. It's just not everybody gets recognized for it.
Right, and so it's kind of cool to see somebody like Arnold Palmer who was able to he was able to share his talent, but he wasn't conceited about it. He shared it with everybody, and he wasn't afraid to give autographs, but he didn't expect people want his autograph.
Definitely not. And that's honestly, if you can get famous and stay humble about it, I think that's the best way to go.
That is that is definitely the best way to go.
I mean, you can't really eventually it's all going to catch up with you, Like there's some
Yep.
people out there who are famous and they're really good people, like Paul Walker was, or you got other actors like Will Smith. He's like a really great guy in real life, I hear. But and everyone knows him for his movies and all that stuff. But you gotta stay humble. You can't be a little conceited, son of a, Justin Bieber. Just thinks he owns the world. Going down to like Brazil or whatever, or Rio, and just like vandalizing walls. Or you got like our Olympic celebrities, who are doing the same kind of stuff, just going around causing trouble, and they get away with it just because they're famous.
I was gonna say, but then you've got some other Olympians who are humble like that, and that they act like they're just people, and they'll give autographs that people ask, but they don't expect that people want their autograph. They're usually caught by surprise or stuff like that, and then it's people who go in and give Olympians bad names because they go in causing trouble and things like that. That's people that just, I don't know, it kind of irritates me a little bit.
Definitely, it gives the good people a bad name. It really does. But I mean, I guess everyone's different. You can't expect everybody to handle a situation the same way. I mean, I know people who it's like if they got famous, I'd see it going right to their heads.
Right.
And then there's people I know who it's like, deserve, to be, wealthy or famous or anything like that, and but they don't. Like they're some of the nicest people, but they are dealt like the hardest hands.
Yep.
So I mean, it's we're definitely not all born equal. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's sad, but it's true.
Mhm.
So it's one of those things where
You just kind of gotta accept what happens and remember everything that was good and continue on.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's for sure.
Yeah, but it really is. It's sad to see him go. I mean, I didn't really hear too much about him, but I mean, I knew who he was, and I knew that he was a really good man. And honestly, as far as golfers go, he's probably one of the most respected golfers that I know of.
Right.
So it really is sad to hear about him going. How old was he again now? 87?
87.
Well, I mean, at least, that's still a pretty long life though, you know?
Yeah. It's something. I don't know. He was definitely a different kind of person.
Very much so.
So I always hate to start off some of our shows like this, but these are the kind of things that need to be brought up, not another kid being shot or this or that. The media is so crowded with the same things.
There was actually this news station. I'm not gonna say which one, but it's I liked him a while back because I wanted to start following, the media and news pages and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And it was a bigger one that I followed. And some people probably noticed this too, like who like the page. Like, they'll go on Facebook, and every couple posts is a news story with this page, and 80% of their posts are about somebody being shot, or somebody being tortured, or somebody being killed, somebody being kidnapped. And it's just like literally 80% of the stuff the page or the news that this station posts is just about death and tragedy. And it got to the point where I'm just like, there's more to life than death. So I just unliked the page and unfollowed it, and I'm just like, that's I'm not I'm not gonna keep listening to that. And I'm with all the stuff they're covering, they there's so much good that could be covered too, but they choose to focus on the bad. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna listen to this station. I never plan to work for this station. I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna look towards the positive, because that's how I've always been. I like to look towards the positive. I'm an optimist. And
Right.
if you just focus on the negative, then you're a negative Nelly, and you're never gonna be happy.
Negative Nelly. I haven't heard of that in a while.
I know. I always thought that was a really funny one.
Yeah, but like I said, this is one of those things that well, actually, this is what this show is about, is to bring up these things that a lot of people actually want to hear. Do you know how many
Hmm.
times I've heard, "Oh, I don't like to watch the news. It's too depressing. There's too many." They don't highlight. The one story you want to see is like a little tiny fluff story at the end of this giant broadcast.
Right, right. And it's I don't know if it's because we live in a state where like there's quite a few towns around us that have like bad reps for like crime and all that stuff.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know if it's because of that or if that's just the way that people like to look at things. But I mean, it really it's not hard to focus on the good. It really isn't. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of the bad too, and it really is a lot easier. It's a lot easier to focus on the bad just because there's a lot of time there's a lot of it. Or for example, one good metaphor is you could do your best for with everything you do. You could always try your very hardest, and a lot of people won't notice that. But as soon as you make like one mistake, everyone will notice it.
Yeah. That's definitely a thing.
And that's kind of like the same way it is with the news, except that there is a lot of the bad, and it's very easy to just think about and focus on the bad. But really, I think it's more about focusing on the good. The good is where it's at. The good is what makes people happy. I mean, nobody wants to hear about death. Nobody wants to hear about a mother and her daughter getting killed and tortured by in some kind of domestic abuse, or just walking down the street on their way to a music recital. Like, I mean, that kind of stuff, it's heartbreaking. And I would rather hear something about like, hey, here's some shots of the dog park today where they were doing like a little like doggy treat festival or something like that. Like, I would tune in that kind of stuff all the time. I love that kind of stuff. I love the gooey, lovey-dovey, fluffy stuff. The stuff that makes people happy. And work with my internship. It's not really like fluffy stuff, but I went to a car show, right? And it's a lot of people, a lot of older folks, and they're just there, and they're happy, and they're just enjoying their cars. And I'm like, this is what it's about. It's about the little things in life. I mean, whether it be a car, or family or animals. That's the kind of stuff that makes people happy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Mhm.
And anyway, so that's kind of an idea of what the show is about. If you were ever questioning that or you ever wanted to know, our show is about things that you want to hear.
Mhm.
Things that you want to hear, things that you care about, and we try to leave out the stuff you don't.
Exactly.
So, getting on with it. That's kind of the only news story we got today. Um, but Mark overstepped his bounds a little bit and has like 50 stories for Mark's multiverse, so you'll get a
It's
couple of
50.
those.
Okay, it is nowhere near 50. First of all, second of all, you
I
asked me.
gave you two. You have more than two.
I'm giving him a face right now, people.
Okay.
Hey, you
So
know what though? Listen though, like I mean this. I mean I find this stuff
one
to
of
be
them is pretty cool.
the first one, it almost it should almost be an entertainment because it's so cool. I'm not saying science isn't cool, but like this next story is something that I think people have been waiting for a long time, and it's not hoverboards, but
It should
it's
be hoverboards.
you know I was disappointed when they started announcing hoverboards, and then it's like these two-wheeled things that you just step on and move
Those
your
aren't
feet.
hoverboards. They
Tho-
were never called hoverboards, and that's
Dude,
not a thing.
somebody was dubbing them hoverboards, and they're not. They're like,
The media was dubbing them hoverboards.
and they're actually like smart scooters or something like that. And I mean, like, don't get me wrong, they're actually kind of cool. I would never call them a hoverboard, but I think they're pretty cool. I had a friend who has
You mean
one.
the ones that caught on fire?
Yeah, well, the ones that don't catch on fire are actually kind of fun. My friend has one, and he let me ride it around one day for a while. And once you get used to it, and it does take some getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's actually really, really fun. If you live in like a single layer, like a single floor house, it would be kind of a cool investment to just ride that around and get from point A to B. So I mean, I think they're cool, but I certainly would not call them hoverboards. They are smart scooters. But back to the topic. Let's see, what was it? What was the topic? Oh yes, Nike is releasing its self-lacing shoes that are coming soon. You might have seen Back to the Future too. Most people have. With the Nike, self-lacing. They what are they? I forgot what they call it in the movie, but
Self-lacing shoes.
I guess so. But you won't have to go too far into the future to pull on a pair of Back to the Future style self-lacing shoes. That's a mouthful, though.
Yes, yes, it is.
Nike has confirmed it will set the HyperAdapt 1.0 sneakers inspired by the movie starting Monday, November 28th. When you put your foot in the sole or in the shoe, it lights up as a pressure sensor in the sole draws tighter an arrangement of fishing line inside. You adjust the fit with two buttons on the front. The laces in the front are just for decoration, sadly. And one thing the futuristic vision of Back to the Future didn't include is how often you're going to have to charge these things. I mean, you really have to charge everything these days, but
I was gonna say I watched a video on it, and it's gonna
it's
be
not
like
bad. It's not super bad, but still, like I mean, here it is. Hey guys, I gotta go home and charge my shoes. It's a little funny.
I was gonna say, but it's not even that. Like when you go to bed at night, because you got to charge it once every 3 weeks,
No, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And it really is only for 3 hours. I mean, it's not even that bad because here
So,
it is. I mean, we
so
charge
all
our
you
phones
gotta,
every night.
I was gonna say, all you gotta do is just when you take your shoes off at night, put them on these chargers,
Mhm.
and then when you get up in the morning, they're all good to go.
Yeah, and you know what? That's not even bad. That's not bad at all. My first concern with these was at first, which a lot of my concerns have been solved. Like first of all, like charging them, I thought maybe you're gonna have to plug in like a charge cord or anything like that, and that's not the case. What happens is those shoes they have a little motor on the bottom, right? And the magnetic cord that comes with these, they come with this magnetic adapter that magnetically clips onto the bottom of the shoes. And it's kind of like the charge pad for your phone, where you just set your phone on top and it charges, which I think is pretty cool itself, especially if you have a phone that has like a broken charger or something like that. That would be a convenience. But anyways, so that's how the shoes work. They got like magnetic adapters or whatever that magnetically attach to the shoes and charge the shoes just by touching them, and which is cool. Another thing that I was kind of cautious about at first when I heard about the idea was what happens if you get them wet? Like what happens if you jump in a puddle and with these electronic devices on your feet? I mean, is that going to short circuit them? But again, like it doesn't sound like there's any openings in the motors or anything like that. But
Well, it
still,
said the motor isn't a self, like, it is basically in a box, and it's
yeah,
kind
like
of
a
on the
plastic
bottom
casing.
in the bridge of your shoe.
And it's like I guess waterproof, right? But
It's water resistant. Nothing is waterproof, it's water resistant.
I'm waterproof. No, I'm kidding.
If you were to throw them into a pool and walk around with them for hours, yeah, they'd probably get water and it would ruin them.
Yeah, or definitely don't want to wear them to like SeaWorld or anything, or the water park. That would be bad.
Yep.
But as far as walking around, don't jump in any puddles. Actually, no. You honestly, they could probably take getting if you walk through a puddle, but you don't want to make a habit out of it with that. I mean, here it is. I'm expecting these shoes to go well, like for a nice hefty price. I'm expecting at least $250 a pair.
I'm expecting more. $1,000 a pair.
I don't know about 1,000.
They're electronic shoes that tie themselves.
Yeah, but
Phones these days are going for more than $200.
yeah, but those, I mean, I don't know. Some phones go for up to $700, but other phones go as cheap as 30.
Yeah, flip phones.
Or no, or even then, it's like with my girlfriend's plan
Are you
through
talking
Verizon.
Metro?
No, she goes through Verizon and she got her Galaxy S7 or whatever for free with her plan.
Well, that's different. You're paying a 2-year contract. So you're giving them the money, you're locking yourself in for 2 years, and you're going to give them money for 2 years.
That's true, but I don't know. I mean, I expect these shoes to go pretty expensive, but I don't know how expensive I expect yet. I'm estimating around $250 a pair, but I could be wrong. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, it's
You
with
probably are wrong.
there'll be a lot of hype with them. It's like, and I'm sure with hype comes lots of people who really really want it. And there's people who will want to pay a lot for it. Like for example, there's a lot of people who were saying the Plus attachment from Pokemon Go wasn't gonna be worth it. Yet here it is, sold out everywhere, and I can't find mine for the life of me, and I'm sad. But so it's like hype is a powerful force, and I mean people. Whatever these shoes come out priced as, there are going to be people who will buy them just so they have them. I mean, I could even imagine some people will buy them just to have them and won't even use them. I mean, like my brother, he double buys everything. Like he'll find something in like a steel case edition or something like that for like a Blu-ray for a new
Mm-hmm.
movie, and like for like a collection or something, and he'll buy two of it because he doesn't want to open one of it because he wants to collect it so it's worth something someday. And I'm just like, that's ridiculous. But I mean,
See, but what he needs to do is buy 2 of the Pokemon Go Plus and then give you one.
well, what some people are doing with the Plus is, when it first came out, they'll buy like, I'm not sure if there's a limit to how many they could buy, but they'd buy more than one, and they'd go home and they'd sell, the $35 attachment easily for double. Like if you look online, you won't find it for less than $80, almost guarantee it.
Oh yeah, I went on Amazon. I'm like, oh, Amazon will have it pretty cheap. No, no, no. It was like $80 on Amazon, and it
I,
wasn't even Amazon Prime, so it was somebody selling it on Amazon.
and I've seen people price them out as up to like $120 online, and I'm just like, that's ridiculous. And there's some people who will pay the money, like I said, because they want it. They really do. But it's just it's how it is. Personally, I'm not gonna pay more than 50 for it. I mean, if it comes down to it's sold out and I can't get it anywhere, then I'll find a way to get it. But I'm not gonna pay more than 50 for it.
Right.
I almost kind of wish that they charged 50 for it, so less people would have been deterred to buy it. You know? That
Oh, it
would.
still would have went over. They could have sold it that thing for $100 and everybody still would have bought it.
You think so?
Do you know how big Pokemon Go is?
Yeah, but it's dying down now too. But either way, I don't know. Back on topic though, with these Hyper Adapt 1.0 sneakers, I'm sure they're gonna be going for a nice hefty price. But I like I said, I know there's gonna be people who are gonna buy them just to have them. I'm kind of tempted to, but I'm not gonna spend a lot of money on it. I mean, I'm certainly not gonna pay 250 for it. I think at most I'd pay maybe like if I really really wanted them, I think at most I would probably pay 150 for it. What about you, Aaron?
I would pay probably $50 for it.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, probably the shoes on my feet were $50. They're not electric or anything. They're just regular old Adidas.
Oh, you were talking. I thought you were talking about Pokemon Go Plus. My bad. No, I don't know if I would do the self-tying shoes. They're cool, but right now I think they're more of just like an I have a Back to the Future shoe. It's kind of like a novelty item rather than it is an actual.
Definitely more of a gimmick deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree with that. Um, like I said though, if I really, really, really wanted them, or for example, I was gonna put like a future Marty McFly cosplay for a con or something like that, I would probably pay up to $150 for these sneakers, but I wouldn't pay anything more. What would you do, or how much would you be willing to pay for those? You said only like 50,
Like, yeah, about 50, maybe 100,
maybe 100.
but that'd be about it.
Yeah, like I said, more of a novelty. So either way, I mean, they're really cool. They come out November 28th, Monday. I'll probably price them out and see how it is and mention it on the show or something. I mean, I think it's a cool thing, but they're definitely gonna try and make their money off of it. I mean, they've been working on it for years now. We were watching a video where they were actually presenting Michael J. Fox with like the exact models of the ones that were in the movie. The ones that they're releasing soon, I mean, though they're inspired by the movies, they do look different. They're a little different. They look more like a little more air.
Actual shoes.
Yeah, they look a little more air breathable. The ones in Back to the Future, they look kind of like how to put it? They looked almost kind of like a pleather like skateboard shoe kind of deal or something like that.
Yep.
But these they look more like a air breathable like running sneakers. So I don't know how comfortable they're gonna be running. I'm not sure what kind of arch support they're gonna have or anything like that. But like I said, I think these shoes are gonna be more of a novelty gimmick kind of item.
Right.
Mhm. So either way, moving on. Um, let's see. NASA, I know I mentioned space stuff every week, and I mentioned this, I think, last time I was on a show. It was about a space probe sent to collect asteroid samples. NASA launched a spacecraft Thursday night on a 7-year mission to an asteroid in an attempt to unravel one of humanity's most fundamental questions. How did we get here? The space probe, named OSIRIS-REx, an acronym representing the various instruments it is carrying, lifted off from Space Launch Complex 41 at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. If all goes as planned, OSIRIS-REx will reach its target, the asteroid Bennu, in 2018. Asteroids are like time capsules, providing insight to what the universe was like billions of years ago. Scientists hope Bennu may hold new clues explaining the origin of the solar system and life itself. The 500-meter wide rock gets within 200,000 miles of Earth's orbit once about every 6 years and was chosen because of its size, carbon-rich composition, and proximity to Earth, according to the mission's website. Once the probe is 3 miles away from Bennu, it will spend 6 months mapping its surface and then use an arm to grab at least 2.1 ounce sample that will be returned to Earth in 2023. The most primitive asteroids are carbon-rich and have not significantly changed since they formed nearly 4 billion years ago. The asteroids contain organic molecules, volatiles, and amino acids that may have been the precursors to life on Earth, NASA's mission report website stated. Scientists don't believe Bennu could seriously harm Earth, although there is a small likelihood it could hit our planet in the 22nd century, making learning about the asteroid even more important for NASA. The spacecraft will briefly touch down on Bennu to gather dust and loose rocks, which will be stored in a tiny capsule. It will then depart Bennu in March of 2021, traveling at a 2.5-year path back to Earth. As OSIRIS-REx approaches Earth, it will eject a sample capsule. The asteroid remnants will land in Utah with the guidance of parachutes. There, the capsules will be retrieved by scientists. OSIRIS-REx will then continue into orbit around the Sun, paving the way for future asteroid exploration missions, NASA said. So I think that's actually pretty I mean, I know I say that about all my stories because I only post stuff that I find interesting. But here it is, we're exploring something in space, trying to learn about it, learn about our origins, which honestly, as far as human origin goes, I think we formed here on Earth. I mean, the only really possible way I could see us actually mankind originating from outer space would be if we were literally like alien cattle, and they brought us here to captivate our species and grow it, kind of like a herd of cattle, which is just honestly an unsettling thought. So I like to think that mankind actually originated on Earth, but I mean, even then, researching this kind of stuff could give us clues on how life forms and could possibly give us answers to how the human race formed. What do you think, Aaron?
I think it's important for us to explore, especially things that could be impacting our planet. Because if we start studying things like that now, we may be able, by the time it's supposedly supposed to hit the planet,
Could. Small chance.
okay, could hit the planet, we might have developed something that could kind of break it up.
A global asteroid defense system.
Well, no, but I mean, like, if it's going to be that bad, find something that they can either shoot at it or,
Some kind of barrier or something to help defend us against it.
well, I was going to say, or like, if we've got some guys in space, have them shoot like a, I don't want to say probe, but shoot something in it that'll kind of break it up, or that
Right,
could
like
redirect it or something like that.
like a drill or something.
Yep.
I've seen stuff like that in like shows and all kinds of media, and I honestly thought it was a really cool concept. Like, there was one show, I don't remember what it was, where they like armed like a nuke into like a giant missile or a drill, and they like drilled into the surface of the asteroid.
Deep Impact.
Yeah, and yeah, did a deep impact which blew the asteroid apart. And then I've also seen like a show where they took multiple rocket engines and mounted them to the surface of the asteroid to deter it, which took a lot of power as well, which was kind of cool. And then you got just a simple blow it up, kill it with explosions. So I mean, there's all kinds of different methods I've seen to handle asteroids and TV shows and all that stuff. And I mean, I'm not saying life's a TV show, but all the TV shows they were definitely inspired by something.
Yeah,
But
totally.
I've seen all kinds of different methods as far as space goes, and really it's uh it's a wide range of tactics and strategies to cover all kinds of different scenarios in space, and it really. Sorry.
You a little tired there?
I've been tired all day. I'm always tired. But it's the universe is endless. The scenarios are endless, and the ways to handle those numerous scenarios are endless. So it's really about how we want to go about it, and that's if, by a small chance, in the 22nd century, which is almost 100 years from now, uh, you know, a lot can change at that time. We don't even know the technology we'll have by then. Or and a lot of us, I mean, if we are still around then, we're gonna be old.
Yeah.
But actually, one of my coworkers was reading an article lately or recently. I overheard them talking about it, and they were talking about how scientists have determined that the state or that the human consciousness is actually a state of matter, and by that logic, that our consciousness could actually be transferred, which
Hmm.
which instantly intrigued me
Yeah.
because I've always been intrigued by the idea of someday maybe being, having my consciousness transferred to like an android or a robot or something like that,
Or
like
another
something,
person.
yeah, or another person, something out of a sci-fi movie. Can you imagine like
Or a kids movie.
or a kids movie?
They've been on kids movies too.
Hmm
Freaky Friday.
Can you imagine just being able to like either like design your next body or something like that, and like make the perfect being of what you want, and then have your consciousness to be transferred over that? That'd be crazy. That'd
It'd
be
be
awesome.
Yeah, it would be really crazy.
But and then it also takes me to another thing, like the theory of teleportation, like with Star Trek. There's the theory about their holodecks is like, it's in order for somebody theory is that, in order for somebody to be teleported, they have to be broken down to a molecular level, essentially being destroyed, and then molecularized or recreated at another location with the same thoughts and memories, which
See, I feel
supposedly would be essentially destroying you and creating another person exactly like you. But by that theory there, if your consciousness is really a state of matter, it could be transferred. It could render that theory moot. So teleportation would be possible.
right.
So I mean, there's a lot to it, and it's interesting and fun to talk about and theorize. I mean, I'm one of those people. If you want to talk about that kind of stuff, I could probably sit down and talk to you about it for hours because I'm a total nerd.
Right.
But it's really discovering like origins of all kinds of different stuff in our universe. It's a complicated path, and but it could be one worth taking.
Right. It really could. It could be one
It
that
could
could
be
be very
life-saving.
worth taking.
It could be life-saving.
It
Really,
could.
essentially. I mean, the 22nd century, that'll probably be like when our like great grandchildren will be probably like middle-aged.
See, but the weird part about this is that could take out the concept of dying if you could keep moving your conscience from one body to another.
Imagine if you could electronically transfer your conscious. Like
What? Just
anywhere.
have like several different bodies, like a pair of clothes.
Kinda.
That would be weird. I think we're getting way too off track with this. Way too off track.
just just a little bit, but I mean, actually, this next topic is actually about transportation, not teleportation, just transportation. But and you wouldn't think of them, researching this sort of thing, but Uber is
Uber.
is researching vertical takeoff planes for city rides. Uber is researching how to offer customers short-haul flights on vertical takeoff aircraft in the future. The company is looking into drone-like aircraft so we can someday offer our customers as many options as possible to move around. Vertical takeoffs and landing aircraft have multiple rotors and fixed wings that allow them to conduct controlled ascents and descents like a helicopter, but
Right.
more like a plane.
Right.
Holden, the company developer, his vision is that they would take off and land on top of buildings throughout a city, transporting multiple passengers on short haul flights. Research into the transportation has so far mainly been conducted by the military, including DARPA, the U.S. Department of Defense agencies for developing new tech.
DARPA. What kind of name is DARPA?
DARPA. But Holden predicted that the technology could be ready to take off within the next decade and said it was another method Uber could use to accomplish its goal of eliminating private car ownership. I don't know why, but this makes me want to play like Grand Theft Auto and like get in a helicopter.
So bad. So bad.
Like I want to get in a helicopter and fly around now.
Right.
But just like the concept of taking off from anywhere and landing anywhere on top of a building or wherever you want
Right.
makes it fun. But either way, I think that's kind of cool. I was surprised when I'm looking through these articles and I see Uber is talking about flight, and I'm like, aren't you guys already like it's kind of still? I mean, I guess they're not so much new anymore. It's been around.
No, they're
for
not really a new thing. They've been around for quite a while.
Yeah, they've been around for a couple years now. But it still strikes me as kind of like a new age kind of
Right.
company. And here it is. Like they really are into the new age kind of stuff because they're researching stuff as far as a decade ahead. But I mean, it's interesting to say the least. I mean, they're talking about accomplishing its goal of eliminating private car ownership. I'm like, I don't know about you, but I don't plan on calling my personal plane to take me everywhere. As long as I live, I plan on having my own personal transportation. But
Yeah, I think having transportation is important, and especially having your own I couldn't imagine calling a jet every time I needed to go somewhere. It would just be weird.
I would feel like an executive.
Sir, your plane awaits. My what?
Yes, Jarvis. Thank you, Jarvis.
It's like a dream.
Yeah, for real. I mean, dream of a world where everyone is an executive.
Right.
But I mean, I'd imagine how they would fuel such a network. I mean, here it is. They're talking about unmanned drones to taxi everyone around. It's like, first of all, how do you even fuel such a fleet? I mean, that would require some alternative energy or something.
So much so.
Because I mean, first of all, I mean, I don't know about you, but drones fueling drones is not a pleasant thought. I honestly think of it kind of scary. I mean, kind of like robots building
Well,
robots.
see, but there is a way. There are planes who fuel other planes in the air.
In the air, yeah. But
That is
imagine,
a thing.
but imagine having it like a taxi service, though. I mean, literally, imagine just flying taxis, essentially, and then you'd have to have more flying taxis that are fuel taxis to fuel the flying taxis, so to speak.
Or the flying taxis could stop. When they stop to pick up passengers, could fuel up.
Yeah, maybe they could like between like every so many stops they return to base or whatever to refuel.
Or
Like,
at night they refuel, and when their tank hits E, they'd probably make it efficient enough, or enough that they would swap out the cars if they ran out of gas or if they were getting close to. They would develop a system. I have faith.
yeah. You also gotta think, how expensive do you think they would be though? Like here it is. I have the link here. It shows a picture of it. It literally looks like a plane, except it looks like a plane but with like little propellers like lying all along the wings and like it would rotate
Right.
like rotors and all that. And I'm just like that's a lot of little propellers.
Yes, it is.
But it's an interesting design, to say the least.
Yeah,
I'd be very intrigued in seeing one of these in person, but I'd also have to think, if you guys are going to try and make a taxi service out of these, you're going to need a lot of them. And plus, I wonder what kind of speed they would offer, too. But I don't know. I mean, it makes you think about like futuristic shows and all that stuff. I mean, where you see all kinds of Futurama with all these hover cars and all that
Back
stuff.
to the Future.
Back to the Future.
The Jetsons.
The Jetsons. They'll give it, 50 years, and we're going to be in that kind of world where, cars fly, taxis fly, our houses are going to be hovering in the sky, that kind of stuff.
It kind of rhymed. You could write a song.
I did used to write poetry, but that's all.
Did you really?
I did. It's on my Facebook. You can check it out.
I will.
Yeah, but it's been years though. I can still write, but it's been a while. But I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's fun to like freestyle in your head. But anyways, so
while you sleep in your bed.
While I sleep in my bed.
I got you.
Got them lyrics in my head while I'm laying in my bed. But
okay.
Okay, so again, moving on. The water plumes have been spotted above Jupiter's moon Europa. The Hubble Space Telescope has again spotted what appear to be towering plumes of water vapor erupting from Jupiter's moon Europa, hinting that future spacecraft may be able to sample the hidden sea, a possible abode of life, without having to drill through miles of rock-hard ice. Today's results increase our confidence that water and other materials from Europa's hidden ocean might be on the surface and available for us to study. The observations in earlier Hubble studies that found signs of plumes using a different technique are at the limits of the Space Telescope's capabilities, and researchers cautioned they were not yet ready to say with certainty that water plumes have in fact been detected. But William Sparks, an astronomer with the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore, who led the latest study, said no other known natural phenomenon can explain the observations. I'm not aware of any other plausible natural explanation, he told reporters. The only other possible explanation that they've been considering is the possibility of some internal instrumental effect. That said, the presumed plumes appear to be real, the statistical significance is pretty good, and I don't know how any other natural alternative could be possible. Europa is one of the 4 bright moons orbiting Jupiter that were discovered by Galileo in 1610. It is roughly the size of Earth's moon but its composition is very different. Based primarily on data from NASA's aptly named Galileo Jupiter Orbiter in the 1990s, scientists believe an icy crust covers the vast saltwater ocean containing twice the water in all of Earth's seas. The ocean
That's a lot of water.
That is a lot of water. Here it is, you think Earth is covered in 75% of water. We're not even sure where our deepest point is, and we haven't even discovered half of what's in the bottom of our seas.
I
and
think we should.
this moon has double what we have.
I think we should study more, like kind of focus a little bit more. Like, yeah, keep an eye out on what's going on in space, but I think we should develop something just for oceans. I mean, I know we have the study of oceanography and all that, but I feel like that needs to be put in the forefront. I feel like we need to study and learn about our own planet before we do anything else.
Well, it sounds like they're trying to take a step into astro-oceanography. But I don't know. I mean, imagine that though. Like, imagine if they like. Can you imagine if they were to say, check out this moon, and they do end up drilling into it, and deep down in these saltwater oceans, and they find ocean whales in the moon. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool.
Or any kind of life. I mean, I've seen the concept of space whales before too in numerous kind of movies and shows, and it's interesting.
Right.
I like to throw the word interesting around it. Have you noticed that?
Interesting.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting.
But yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. So, but the ocean is heated and kept from freezing primarily by tidal stresses. The constant squeezing and stretching the moon's experiences due to Jupiter's enormous gravity as it swings around the giant planet every 3.5 days. Given water, energy, and possibly organic compounds, the subsurface ocean is a possible abode to life and is therefore a major interest to astrobiologists. NASA is in the initial stages of developing a spacecraft to explore the moon through repeated flybys in the 2020s. A major question mark has been how thick Europa's crust might be and how difficult it might be to one day drill through it to collect samples of the ocean below. But if the plumes are eventually confirmed, as appears likely, drilling might not be necessary. If there are plumes emerging from Europa, it's significant because it means we may be able to explore the ocean for organic chemicals or even signs of life without having to drill through unknown miles of ice. In 2012, a team of researchers using the Hubble Space Telescope's imaging spectrograph spotted what appeared to be water vapor more than 100 miles above Europa's south pole. The Parkes team used a different technique, observing the limb of the moon in ultraviolet light as it passed in front of Jupiter. During 3 out of 10 observations, background light was absorbed by what the researchers concluded were likely plumes of water vapor towering 125 miles above the surface. The two techniques have not yet seen plumes at the same time, suggesting they may be sporadic and short-lived. Additional Hubble observations are being analyzed, more that are planned, and NASA's much more powerful James Webb Space Telescope, scheduled for launch in November 2018, will bring even more sensitive instruments to bear. Europa's ocean is considered to be one of the most promising places that could potentially harbor life in the solar system. Joe Yoder, acting associate administrator for NASA's Science Mission Directorate, said in a statement, "These plumes, if they do indeed exist, may provide another way to sample Europa's subsurface." Again, I think that'd be super interesting if we were to.
I think it'd be cool
if we were to examine this moon, to dig into it, or just explore it, get shots of it, figure out what's inside of it, see if there's life. Can you imagine if there was life underwater, under the ice, on a moon, in our solar system? I mean, that could be for all we know, that could be like our first time encountering extraterrestrial life, unless they already have it in like Area 51 or something.
Right.
But I mean, that would be awesome.
It'd be really cool.
And again, I mean, joking aside, I mean, space whales, that would be kind of cool to discover,
I don't know how well, I don't know what I would think of space whales.
I mean, here it is. You got to think the amount of water under the surface is like they said, over double what our Earth has. So you got to think. I mean, in all that water, you'd think there's something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be one lonesome ocean if there isn't. But I mean,
it would.
But I mean, I don't know. For all we know, it could have just been a giant ice cube that started melting on the inside. But I don't know. But part of the reason it hasn't frozen inside was because of, current stress, for the water moving around, and that could either be caused by the planet's gravity, or that could be caused by something in the water.
It
Maybe.
could be.
Maybe. Uh, Very intriguing to think about, if I do say so myself.
It is. It is very intriguing to think about.
So I'm definitely gonna want to be looking into this. I think right now, as far as an astral body of significance is to me, I think the one I'm most intrigued about is Europa.
I think the one that I'm most, or I think the thing that I'm most intrigued about is, let's see, we
Hmm.
did self-tying shoes. We
Oh, I'm
did.
talking about space.
Oh,
Like I mean, like the most like
I think
intriguing
the
astral body.
I'm talking about the most interesting thing that you've talked about
Oh,
out of what you've talked. I think the Uber thing was pretty cool.
the Uber jet.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Normally you don't seem like you're for the self-driving stuff, but I guess if it's off the ground, then I guess it's okay then, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all goes. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a lot of this stuff in research and testing and all of that. Um, I want to see them make a prototype for like a warp drive ship. I know there's been talks of it. I know NASA has it in their back pocket somewhere to test and see if it's possible. It's gonna take a ballsy bunch of people to test such a ship. Can you imagine being the first people to ever, warp?
No.
That would be so scary, dude. Like you don't even know if you're gonna make it. You don't know where you're gonna go. You don't know if you're gonna hit something. Like I'm sorry, but like I would not be the first person to test warp. That's scary. I mean, it's something that I really hope we achieve someday, but I would not want to be the first person to test it. That would be so scary.
Yeah, it would be really scary.
Mhm. But anyways, that being said, it is 7:02, so we are entering our second hour, which means time to bring Mark's Multiverse to a close and bring us into movie madness or our movie news. So passing the baton.
No baton. No baton
No
is being
baton.
passed.
No baton. Fine. No
But it is
baton.
time for Movie Madness Monday.
Yes, it is.
So, for Movie Madness Monday, the first thing that I'm going to start off with is I'm going to get your hopes up because there might be a chance of a Seventh Heaven family or well, Seventh Heaven reunion. Try to say that. Um See, recently there's been a lot of 90s shows coming back, like Full House, Boy Meets World, shows like that. A lot of them have been coming back. You've got Full House has come back in Fuller House. You've got Girl Meets World, which is an adaptation of Boy Meets World. There's a few others that I'm trying to think of. Oh, Gilmore Girls is gonna return. So it's one of those things where I feel like the shows we have now just aren't competing to what we have, and there's so many people that are like, do you know how many things I've been tagged in, or have popped up on my Facebook of shows that I used to watch when I was younger, and it's like, man, I miss these shows.
I definitely know how you feel.
Well, and it's one of those things where the late 90s, early 2000s was, well, the 90s in general and the early 2000s were like prime for everything. They had great music. Uh, Not that great of fashion, but great music. They had great TV shows, great movies. You think it was a prime age to be a celebrity.
Oh, for sure.
And you've got these shows that they weren't just something to watch. All of them taught you something.
Oh, definitely.
They,
Back when
they
shows meant something.
yeah, they had a lesson at the end. I mean, you think about show Hey Arnold and Rugrats and shows like that. It wasn't just entertaining; it taught you something as well. And that's what I think a lot of people miss, especially like Seventh Heaven. You learned a lot of lessons. Boy Meets World gives me like I don't know, just like a tingly feeling every time an episode comes to an end, or you know something's gonna happen, or one of those special moments. Like it's one of those shows that was able to make you kind of relate to the character, get excited when um in Boy Meets World when Mr. Feeney revealed kind of what his lesson was
Mhm.
out of everything. And a lot of shows like that are kind of starting to come back, and I think it's really cool. But there is a problem.
What is the problem?
The problem is Seventh Heaven may never have a reunion. One of the one of the reasons is because one of the main characters, the guy who played Eric Camden in Seventh Heaven, it was like a year or two ago, confessed to sexually abusing underage girls back when he was doing the show.
Oh no, a whole another Bill Cosby date thing, huh?
Well, that I think that happened before Bill Cosby.
Oh.
And it was one of those things where he didn't fight it; he just confessed. And TMZ asked the actress who played the mother, Annie Camden, if they would ever do a reunion, and she said, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to open with Steph Stefan's Coffin, which is the actor who played Eric Camden,
Right, right.
basically saying that she wouldn't come back unless his character was killed off.
I guess that's understandable.
I mean, it is understandable, but it's also one of those things where you look at, you take what Bill Cosby did and what um, this guy did, and it's like, okay, well, you just ruined the thing that you worked so
It's
hard to
not going to be
create.
the same.
Well, I mean, the Cosby Show, I don't think is on anywhere anymore. Pretty
I
sure they
am.
pulled that off a lot of networks. Seventh Heaven, luckily, didn't take that bad of a hit.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about
But
that. I mean, I didn't watch Seventh Heaven, but I didn't watch Cosby Show either.
but it was one of those things where, you just ruined a show that you worked years on, and you ruined the possibility of a reunion in a world where a lot of shows, especially shows from that era, are getting reboots. They're getting reboots or they're getting remade. A lot of movies are even getting remade.
Oh yes,
I
definitely.
mean, you look at Ghostbusters. Granted, I had some problems with it, but overall, it was a really good movie.
Well, you see, the thing is, they've actually been doing this for years. The whole remaking things. Like, I mean, I think one of the earlier ones it started with was Transformers. They brought Transformers back, and with the whole Shia LaBeouf on the first one and all that, that it was like a big. I think that's when I started noticing that they started doing like a lot of comeback work. But I was just
But
there's
a
a
lot
lot.
of well, the problem is a lot of people have been doing remakes. They've been remaking shows,
Mhm.
and sometimes it works and sometimes haven't. This is a point where they're not remaking them; they're rebooting them.
Right.
Like okay, Ghostbusters was a remake, but you've got a Jumanji 2, so it's not remaking it.
It's
It's rebooting it with fresh characters, so it's like a sequel.
that makes sense.
And you've got Dwayne the Rock Johnson and a lot of people doing this, and I'm really excited for Jumanji, especially since
Oh yeah, I plan
it
to
was
see
said
it.
that they want to kind of honor Robin Williams' character in that
I
movie.
guarantee you, at the end of it, there's gonna be an in memory of.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised. At the end of Ghostbusters, there was.
I liked what they did with the new Star Trek too. Like, not only did they do the in memory of at the end for Leonard Nimoy and Anton,
Right.
but they even brought Leonard Nimoy's character into the movie and incorporated his death into it. I mean, they called spoiler alert. They called Spock in to discuss something, and they were telling him how Ambassador Spock, him from the future, had passed, and
Right.
it was like a sad, touching moment kind of deal, and it affected the plot big time.
Right.
But it was a very nice touch. And they did another thing later on where it was like an in memory of kind of deal for it. But it was such a golden moment. You have to go watch. You have to be you have to be able to appreciate the old Star Trek to truly appreciate the moment. And it's just so golden that you have to watch it for yourself, unless you already have if you're a real Trekkie.
Right.
But it's really good. And but we're living in an age of reboots right now, and it's like
But
I've been
that's not a bad thing either.
no, it's not. I've been going back and rewatching a lot of old stuff. Like I would
Justice League.
like Justice League. I was just watching that last night. I probably
I
watched
watched
like
it the other day.
I was probably just watching like 4 episodes of it last night. I watched the episode with.
So you watched basically 2 episodes because the problem with Justice League is the fact that you cannot just watch one episode. You have to watch at least 2 at a time.
Definitely, because I
Because
was watching
90% of the series, it is part 1 and part 2.
the episode with the Metamorphose guy.
Yes.
You know that episode, right?
Yes.
Yep, that's the episodes that I was watching last night. They were good. I
Yeah.
liked them.
No, there's a lot of really good, especially like Batman. They had a Batman the Animated Series. And actually, fun fact, in case you didn't know, you might have already known, but in case you didn't, so Harley Quinn was not in the original Batman comics.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't read the original comics, so I did not know that.
Well, it wasn't until Batman the Animated Series that she became a character.
Really?
That's where she was born. And then after her character was kind of born there, and everybody kind of took a liking to her. What they did is that's when they started incorporating her into the comics.
Really?
Yes. So it was Batman the Animated Series that actually came up with Harley Quinn.
That's kind of cool.
It is. I think that's something really cool. And going back and watching the Batman the Animated Series, it's funny because the Justice League, like, you could tell that they were on a budget because the intro is like over the top animation.
And then the
show is like normal animation for that era. And it's one of those things where it's not like that.
Mhm. But yeah, no, like I said, I've been really watching it a lot lately, like a lot, honestly, like more than I normally watch TV, and most of the time I'm watching Justice League now.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like I've been liking pages on Facebook too, because I've gone back and watched other shows too. Like there's this old Cartoon Network show, I don't know if you remember, it was called Megas XLR.
I do not.
It was about this guy, he found this giant robot in a junkyard and he painted it blue with flames and all that stuff, and he made his car the head of it, and he could control it. And you know, there were some other shows too that were really good from back then. And I like this page on Facebook that's for Megas XLR, and they posted about they're doing a reboot for one of my favorite animes. It's the first show I ever watched. It was called Zoids, and I posted about this. I tagged my brother in it and one of our friends in class, Joe. I'm not sure if you're listening, but I saw you like that too. But yeah, so they're talking about rebooting Zoids, and it's talking about coming soon. It's just a little teaser. But I mean, it got me so pumped. I saw it on my way over.
You know what show I want to see? There was a show called Static Shock. Have you ever seen it?
Static Shock was really good. They incorporated Static Shock into Young Justice, by the way.
Did they really?
I don't know if you watched Young Justice yet.
Was he actually like in? I didn't know if he was actually a comic or not. I know
He's more of a season 2 character. Where are you at in Justice League right now? Are you watching Justice League Unlimited?
No.
Are you still in the regular Justice League?
Yep.
All right. How far would you say you're into it? Like season 2?
Yeah, probably.
Somewhere in season 2. All right. So you're probably a little further ahead of me then.
But no. Anyway, Static Shock had his own show for a while, and it was actually a really good show.
I never actually watched it, but it looked really good.
Yeah, it was really good. What they did is they reanimated, or like halfway through the series. I think it might have been season 2, because there was only like 1 or 2 seasons.
Right.
Because the show just kind of disappeared. I would record it every day, and it just kind of disappeared. And I'm kind of sad because it was originally it started off about this show, and this town had this thing called the Big Bang, where there was something with a whole bunch of chemicals, and there were several people affected by it. And they started getting powers. Like there was a lava guy. There was a guy that was kind of could stretch.
Really?
Yes, there was a guy with like there was all these different villains.
I might have to go back and watch this.
And the cool part about this one is it's this kid, and actually the best part about it is it's an African American superhero.
Yeah, definitely. That was out there for the time.
Yeah. And so, but the cool part about it is he could take a static electricity. So he had like this disc made out of electricity that he would ride on.
Didn't he make it out of like a garbage can or something?
Yep, it was a garbage can lid. It's just a lid of metal that he electrocutes it and he can fly around on it. That's kind of cool. But later in the series, his best friend, who's found out that he was kind of affected by it too, not realizing it. But it made him a genius, which he knew he was really smart. And they knew, they kind of showed that throughout the first season. Mm-hmm. But it kind of really came out, or I can't remember exactly how it
Like
went
he
down.
got
Maybe
really smart
maybe
after
like
a
there was a
while.
yeah, or there was like a Big Bang 2 or something. Either way, he became a partner, and it was kind of cool. He made this backpack
Yep, I
that
remember.
that was like
He's
it
like a
was
tech
almost like a
sidekick.
bug.
Yeah, he was kind of like a tech sidekick.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
but anyway, it was kind of a cool mix up because you have a lot of white superheroes, but rarely do you have an African American one, and then you have somebody who's white as a sidekick. But it was a really good show. I mean, I loved this show because you had all these different villains. There was the guy who could stretch really far.
Mhm.
There was a guy, like I said, with like his hair was on like fire, and he could shoot fire at people. There's this guy who kind of looked like the Stretch villain,
Mhm.
but he was all like his outfit was all black. It was like he was a giant shadow. He could stretch as well. It was a different character, but it was almost like he was the one behind the Big Bang or like at the source of this, whatever caused this.
Right.
But the cool part about it is this is a kid at high school, and so he's trying to do high school things and save the world. And so it's kind of cool because you've had adult superheroes, you've had a few teen superheroes, but it was kind of like they didn't really go to school.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is kind of cool to see. You've got a teen superhero and he's trying to go to school and trying to save
Well,
the world and have a relationship and things like that.
that's one of the reasons I like Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom was an awesome show.
They did a small teaser. They
Awesome
did a
show.
small teaser. I think it was almost fan art, really, but like they were kind of teasing like a comeback of that. I really hope they do. Like
It would be
being
really
older,
cool.
like being older now, that would be so cool. But
It would
I don't
be
know if they're.
so cool.
I'm not gonna believe that till I see it though. You know what? The one of the things I liked about Static Shock though, I remember there was one episode they made a reference to the Teen Titans because Static or he ended up meeting Batman.
Did he really?
Yeah, there
When?
was one episode I don't remember. It was just one episode I just happened to be watching, and he's like, "Oh, where's Robin?" And Batman's like, "Oh yeah, he's with the Titans."
Oh, okay.
And I thought that was really cool. I liked it because it kind of like led you to believe that it's like, oh, so Static Shock is in the same universe as Teen Titans. That's cool. So I was pretty happy. That was pretty cool to see that. But we do. We're living in an age of reboots right now, and some of them are good and some of them are bad at the very least.
Well, it says
You
that
know.
he met Batman Beyond, which is um the new like the I don't even know. It wasn't the son of Batman, but it was like a
It was that one where he was in like that different kind of suit, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was very different. But it was really cool because the animation was the same as the original Batman the animated series.
Mhm.
So Bruce Wayne you saw a lot, but you saw him like he was in the animated series, which was kind of cool.
Right. Mhm.
Um, so it's one of those things where I thought Static Shock was really cool.
Mhm.
And I would love to just see that series, with him still in high school and stuff like that. I think that'd be awesome to see.
Well, you could always go back and rewatch it.
I think I'm going to. I'm trying to find it actually.
There's a good website I use for that kind of stuff. It's called www.watchcartoononline.
Really?
Watch Cartoon Online. It's as simple as that. And you can find any anime you want on there. You can find any cartoons you want on there. I think there's even some other shows that you can just watch on there. Like I know like Family Guy, American Dad, South Park, all those are on there. But it's I use that to watch most of my stuff when it comes to streaming, and it's a good site. It's got like everything you need, and you know for the most part, like I mean, there's not really anything on there that I wanted to watch that I haven't been able to find.
Right.
So it's a good site, and I recommend it.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
I'm almost positive Stack Shocks on there. I haven't personally looked for it, but you're probably looking at it right now, aren't you?
I am.
Yep. So it is on there. Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm not looking at Static Shock. I'm trying to
ah
find it.
yeah. Either way, it's a good site. It's there's a lot of streaming sites out there, but that's one of the ones I like. Um.
Sabrina's Secret Life, which is the new one. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Sabrina's Secrets of a Teenage Witch.
Yeah. So yeah, all those
Scooby
shows.
Doo.
Scooby Doo. Yeah, I'm sure like all the Scooby Doo's on there. Pokemon's on there. Yu-Gi-Oh's on there. Static Shock's on there, Batman's on there, Justice League is
It's
on
not
there.
confirmed that Static Shock is on here. I'm still looking.
I'm 90%.
Static Shock. I found it.
Yep.
Never mind.
I was about to say I'm 98% sure it is. But yeah, so I mean, good site. Static Shock was a good show. I didn't watch a lot of it, but from what I saw, I did like it. I might go back and watch it at some point myself. And you know what? If you want to see more of it, like recent, I mean, they had him as a character in Young Justice. So when you're finished with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, go watch Young Justice. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it, Aaron. It's really good.
Right.
It's kind of like a cross between Justice League and Teen Titans.
Okay.
But and it's really really good. I really really like it, and I wouldn't recommend a show that's bad to you, Aaron, or at least not one that I wouldn't like. I wouldn't recommend a show I think is bad to you. So either way, like I said, we're living in an age of reboots, continuations, all that. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of those movies, like Jumanji, or I know at this point they're almost overkilling bringing back Transformers, but they're talking about doing another one, Transformers: The Last Night.
I'm so done with Transformers.
I'm
The
not.
first one was awesome. The second one was.
The first three were
The third
pretty
one,
good.
the third one, I got bored. In the middle of the movie, I'm like, can this movie end yet?
The last one, Age of Extinction or whatever, with where it wasn't even Shia LaBeouf.
Right.
That one was. It wasn't a bad movie, but it was painfully long. We went in at midnight, and we probably got out of there after 3 o'clock in the morning.
See, all I'm hearing is bad things about it, and I'm like, why?
Hmm
Why are we not like? Why?
They're still doing another one too.
How many are there?
Well, right now there's 4. There's gonna be 5, and if they're probably gonna end up doing a 6th one too. Like, do a second trilogy. You know how they are. Michael Bay likes his sequels, and Transformers is one of those shows that you could literally just ride it out with explosions. And if there's one thing Michael Bay loves, it is explosions. So Transformers is like a
It's
prime explosion example. So I mean, we'll see how that goes. I mean, personally, I'll admit they're kind of overdoing it on the Transformers, but I'm still gonna go see it.
yeah. It's I don't know.
I agree. I don't know, but
It is, I don't know.
I'm still gonna go see it. I'm gonna give it a chance. Hopefully they make it a little shorter because that last one was just so long. It really was. It was way too long. But yeah. So that we got quite a bit off topic there, huh?
Not really. It was kind of on.
Well, yeah, we were talking about reboots.
But it kind of brings me to the next topic, because the next topic is kind of the 90s nostalgia that we've been talking about, is the Backstreet Boys. They announced they're going to be they announced a Vegas residency.
Really?
Yes, so they're going to be in Las Vegas for quite a while, which is bad news if you were expecting to hear them in concert, near you. Which, yeah. But I think I would I would pay to go and see them. Like, if they came here, I would go and see them, because I was a big fan when I was younger, and I still am a big fan. But them being able to come back, they didn't come back nearly as popular as they were. I mean, their fan base was still there, but they're just trying to figure out where they fit and what they can do, and come out with new. They came out with a new song, and it was awesome.
Really? What was the
Yes.
song?
I'm trying to remember the name of it. It came out a few years ago.
Wait, have you seen This Is the End?
Yes.
Was that Backstreet Boys or NSYNC at the end of that?
That was Backstreet Boys.
That was the Backstreet Boys. So they've been making a little bit of a comeback lately. Getting out there, doing a little bit of work again with the old group. It's kind of cool, I mean, shoot, they're probably one of the only boy bands out there who could still make it in today's world.
I think they're the only one that are still around.
Yeah, whatever happened. Which one was Justin Timberlake? Was he Backstreet or NSYNC?
He was NSYNC.
NSYNC. Yeah, he's doing his own thing.
No, Backstreet Boys did a song called "In a World Like This," and I would recommend you listen to it. It is an awesome song. When it first came out, not sure. It came out in 2013. When it came out in 2013, I was excited, and I listened to it, and I bought the song. It is really, really good. And if you're gonna listen to it, if you don't have it, go and watch the music video. The music video is just fantastic.
Is it really, really good?
It is really, really good.
Is it fantastic?
It is.
I'll have to check into it then.
You
I'll,
will,
I'll be the
because
judge of that.
I'm gonna show you right after we get off the air,
All right, sounds good.
right when we're done. No, anyway, but it's one of those things where it's just like I'm so excited that they get an opportunity like this. They can kind of fans can go and see them, and it's I don't know. I think it's cool. What do you think?
Yeah, I like seeing old bands come back again and do their thing again. I mean, I fully support them in that kind of stuff. I again with the Backstreet Boys. I mean, mad respect. They managed to take a boy band and make something in today's world that is wildly or did really well. So first of
Right.
all, kudos to the Backstreet Boys for managing to do that by themselves. I don't think any other boy band could manage to pull that off. I think even NSYNC would have trouble doing that. Um, I don't even know any other boy bands besides NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. Even when
You
they
have
were
New
pop,
Kids on the Block that got back together.
I mean, I don't know.
Because the Backstreet Boys originally they were missing one member,
I was
and they
never,
did a tour with New Kids on the Block.
I was never even into boy bands really. But it's like hearing that. I mean, like I was never into boy bands, so I didn't really know a lot of them. But
A lot of them were one-hit wonders. You had Boyzone, which was a one-hit wonder.
Boyzone, what was that?
It was it was a group.
Oh, it was a group. Oh, okay.
You also had
See,
Boys to Men.
Boys to Men, I've heard of them.
Boys to Men was very, very popular. They had a lot of hits.
There was New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block. You had NSYNC.
NSYNC and Backstreet Boys were the only ones I knew, and I still always got them confused.
Everybody gets them confused, and it's funny because they're two different bands.
Right, that's
Or,
like
two
that's
different
like
groups. They're not bands.
that's like getting what was it? I don't know. I had an example of like getting two really interesting different musicians mixed up, but
It'll come back to you.
I lost
Don't
it.
worry about it.
I don't know, but yeah, it's kind of cool to see them, coming back and doing their thing again. I mean, if there's one boy band who could do it, it would probably be the Backstreet Boys, and they have, and they're doing it, and it's not bad from some of the stuff I've heard them doing. They're doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's but you also look at Britney Spears is got a tour or she's got something in Vegas going on. So
Does she
she's
now?
kind of making a comeback. Hillary Duff is set to release. She's working on a new album.
Is she?
She is.
That's surprising. She kind of like dropped. I mean, from what I saw, it seemed like she just dropped off the world after those Cody movies.
Well, she didn't. It wasn't that. It was. She was in a few other movies, but it was she got married and she wanted to raise her kids. She got pregnant and that's kind of when she dropped off the face of the earth.
Well, can't really hate on her for that though. I mean,
No, not at all.
If you want to have a life, go and have a life.
Well, that's one of the reasons that um, that Backstreet Boys broke up. Well, one of the reasons was they just weren't feeling the music anymore. They didn't have the passion behind it that they did originally. But one of the original members, I think it was Kevin, didn't originally come back with the group. He came back. He joined them for one show in his home state, and then he joined them after that.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of those things where it even took him a while, but he kind of like got back into it, and he could kind of he had a good cause for it again. But I mean, Big Kenny from Big and Rich, kind of switching over to a country front. Um, he had a kid a while back, and that's kind of why.
Did you say he had some kid?
He had a kid while um
yeah,
no,
he had a kid.
He had a kid a while back, and Big and Rich kind of stopped doing stuff. John Rich did a little solo thing for a little while, and then they kind of got back together. And they're putting out new music and touring and stuff together. But he wanted to watch his kids grow up, and it's kind of a trend. It happened with a lot of '90s stars, a lot of '90s performers, singers, and actors and actresses and all that. So
Yeah,
it wasn't that uncommon.
They go and do their thing. They find somebody they love and they start a family, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No,
I mean,
so
more power to them. That's good. If you manage to rich and famous and still manage to have a family and all that. That is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Right.
And more
But
power to you. Like
you know,
those people are like you gotta find what's important in this world, and a lot of the time that is family.
right. So you've got a lot of people um, who are, coming back now. Their kids that they had are growing up, and
So it's like, hey, let's get back together. Let's do some work again.
right, and I kind of like that. The TV shows are coming back in reboots. You got some movies that are getting sequels. You've got singers and songwriters that are coming back and starting to write music again, and I think it's a good era. It's they're trying to they found something that works. They denied it for a while, and now they're kind of realizing what they had and trying to get it back.
Definitely, and I think that's good.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's
much.
kind of like reinventing ourselves.
It is.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Anyway, so this is something that had been rumored since April. And Kevin from the Backstreet Boys has said it's going to be an amazing, energetic, and fun party show. So that's kind of cool. I also read that Florida Georgia Line and the Backstreet Boys were going to team up on something, so that's exciting.
That would be interesting to see too.
Yeah. Um, so there's definitely a lot going on that front. But I'm gonna kind of throw it over to Mark to the Magnificent Seven with Denzel Washington. What is this about?
Oh, the Magnificent Seven. It's basically a remake of the remake. The Magnificent Seven was originally a western that was based off of a Japanese film called The Seven Samurai.
Okay.
And it was basically like these seven guys, and they're kind of like the guys who were loners doing their own thing, and they end up banding together and taking on a big bad guy or something like that. In a
Or the Avengers.
in a much more real, it could happen, old
Yes.
timey western sort.
Well, yeah, of course.
And so basically they're remaking the Magnificent Seven, which is basically kind of a different version of the Seven Samurai. And with this movie, they have Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt and half a dozen other actors, and they're pulling off these seven kind of like cowboys. So basically, Denzel Washington and director Anton Fuqua have developed quite a strong working relationship, starting 15 years ago with Training Day, which earned Washington an Oscar for Best Actor. 2 years ago, they've teamed up again for The Equalizer, and now they're back with the
Magnificent.
Magnificent Seven,
There
an
you go.
update of the 1960 John Sturges film starring Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen. The film marks Washington's first foray into the Western genre, but he doesn't think about it that way. I don't know what a Western is, so it's not like I'm doing one, he tells CBS News. That's something someone calls them. It's a story that I found interesting that just so happens to take place in 1874. This is who I am. This is who these people are. This is what the story is. I don't know the rules of what a Western is, and I don't want to know. Is basically what he had to say to the press. I've been seeing a lot of commercials for Magnificent Seven in movie theaters, and I have to say, it looks good. It's got, like I said, it's got Chris Pratt, which is like probably one of my top 5 favorite actors. He started off in like Parks and Recreation, and then we saw him in a couple other stuff. We saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy as Star-Lord, or Peter Quill, which was an effing amazing movie in my opinion, and I cannot wait until the second one starts coming out. And then we saw him in Jurassic World, which was another effing amazing movie, and I absolutely loved it, loved it, loved it.
Chris
And
Chris
I can't
Pratt
wait
is
to see
doing
it
a
again.
really good job.
He is making a name for himself, and he is doing it.
And there's going to be a Guardians 2.
There's gonna be Guardians 2. There's gonna be some kind of sequel to Jurassic World. I heard. I mean, it made too much money not to, honestly. I mean, I will see how that goes, but
See, but I've
it's
heard
gonna be hard to top that first one. Though.
I've heard it was good and I've heard it was bad. I've heard different reviews.
Well, the
from
people
different
who said it's bad are wrong.
I think the people who said it was bad are just tired of Jurassic movies because you had how many Jurassic Park
The
movies?
people who said it was bad are hipsters, too mainstream. But
Okay, you tell that to their faces.
I will.
Okay.
But anyways, so I invite any hipster to come up to me and tell me Jurassic World is a bad movie. I will tell them they are wrong to their face.
Okay.
Anyways, so basically Chris Pratt, who's in Jurassic World and he was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and of course he's gonna be in 2, and then he
It would be
crossed.
dumb if he was not in 2.
Yeah,
Just saying.
and he's probably there. There's gonna be crossovers at some point with the Avengers, I'm sure, because here it is. In the first one, the big deal is an Infinity Stone, and the Infinity Stones are the big deal in the Avengers movie. So it'd be kind of stupid for them not to do a crossover.
They probably won't because they're stupid.
Don't say that. You're
I'm
getting my
gonna.
hopes down. Anyways,
Well, it's better than getting your hopes up and then have them crushed.
right. But so I mean, Chris Pratt is one of the comedic roles in this movie, and really it's kind of like a comedy action. But and we got Denzel Washington, and they're like, and them and these 5 other guys, they're just a ragtag team of cowboys in the old west, and they get recruited or hired by this girl to do some kind of job involving beating some bad guy, and it's like we're looking. I mean, it's looking like it's got a pretty solid base so far. I mean,
Right.
and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Mainly for me because it's got Chris Pratt in it, and he plays like a comedy role, and Chris Pratt is awesome, especially when it comes to comedy roles. I mean, really, I mean, I think he's great in any role, but like comedy is one of his strong suits. So I'm really looking forward to that. What was I? But I mean, beside the fact this story is more about Denzel Washington, I suppose. But like they were talking to him, and he sees westerns in a different light. He doesn't really know exactly what a western is. He doesn't know what the rules are. So he's going out about it as if it's just a movie he's going in. He's not trying to achieve a certain style with it. He's not going into it as an actor playing a western. He's going into it as Denzel Washington playing in a interesting story that just so happens to take place in 1874, which is basically what he said. And I fully support him on that. I think that's cool. So I mean, crap, what was I gonna say? So this is one of those movies that's really looking good. I just saw they had a commercial for it. Me and Jenna, we went to go see that movie, Don't Breathe. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you're into scary movies, are you?
Not at all.
Oh, well, it's probably not the kind of movie for you. It's about these kids. They break into this blind guy. He's a blind veteran's house, and they tend to rob him, obviously. And turns out he's the blind veteran guy you don't want to mess with
Right.
because he's also effing crazy.
Right.
And like it all goes downhill from there. But and then we went to go see Star Trek recently again as well. And I could talk about Star Trek for a while too because I love
I
Star
know.
Trek. But I mean, like they did the nice little memorials for like Anton and Leonard Nimoy, and I thought that was great as well. It's nice to see when movies do the memorials, or like how they did with Fast and Furious 7.
Right.
How you saw Fast and Furious 7,
I
right?
did. I
You
own
did?
it.
Okay, cool. So you know how they did it at the end. They did the Vin Diesel and the Paul
Right.
Walker. They were driving into the sunset, and he ends up
Right.
taking another road. So yeah, I really
Spoiler, by the way.
it's been out for a while. Anybody who hasn't seen it, it's kind of their fault at this point. Just like with Star Wars: The Force Awakens, it's such a big thing. You kind of gotta go see it, even if you don't like Star Wars, because otherwise you're just gonna be out of the loop. There's some movies that are just so big, it's literally an obligation to go see them because you have to see them because you have to.
I understand that.
hmm
It's a good logic.
Yep. And I'm kind of hoping to see what Magnificent Seven brings, because here it is. You got like Chris Pratt, he's like a comedy role. You got Denzel Washington. Like every one of these ragtag team of guys is they have a different role. Like they got this one guy, he's like the rogue. They got another guy, he's like a tracker. They got another guy who's they're all a specialist of one sort of or another.
Right.
And it had this other guy in it who's really popular. I'm not exactly sure which actors were all in the movie. But one of my favorite parts of the commercial was they're backed up into a town. It's just them, and there's literally just like an army surrounding the town, getting ready to come in. And they're like, "So what's the plan?" And Chris Pratt's just like, "I've always wanted to blow something up." and they're like, "That's not a plan," and then you like flip some switch and like this massive explosion happens. So it's like again, it's one of the more comedic things about Chris Pratt that I'm it makes him Chris Pratt. So I mean, like I said, he started off in Parks and Recreation, which is a really good show. Have you watched Parks and Recreation, Aaron?
I have not.
It's really funny. It's got like Chris Pratt and Aziz Ansari and Adam Scott, bunch of actors and actresses that are really good, and it's a good show. But and Chris Pratt's moved from here and there and doing other big gigs, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Who was your favorite character in Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
Groot.
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 What a
Baby Groot is so adorable.
baby Groot. I remember.
I want to buy a baby Groot so bad. You can
right.
buy them online.
Isn't it like not actual plant though?
No, it's not an actual plant.
It's
a little baby Groot that looks like in the movie in a flower pot, and you can turn him on and he dances.
That would be a cute little house decoration.
It would go great with all my. Let's see, I've got pets from the Secret Life of Pets. I've got Minions. I've got a duck, rubber duck.
Have you seen Secret Life of Pets?
I have not.
Really?
I really wanted to see it, and I didn't get a chance.
I think it's still in theaters.
No, I think it's long out by now.
Really? I feel like it just came out.
By the way, I just want to throw out that this website is amazing.
What, the one I recommended
yes.
to you?
There are so many shows that I used to watch as a kid that I couldn't find anywhere, and they're all right here. I mean, like Jackie Chan, The Adventures.
That's on my list. I want to go rewatch
that. Was one that we were talking about quite a while back, and it's on here, along with Static Shock's on here. All the different Sabrina,
How many different Sabrina shows were there? There was that animated
one. There's like
one.
50. There was like two different animated ones, because they just did a new animated one. But I mean, they've got like Lego stuff. They've got Napoleon Dynamite, the animated, animated version.
There's an animated Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I did not know that.
Robot Chicken, Rugrats, all grown up.
Robot Chicken was a good one.
Robot Chicken is awesome.
I have to go in there and watch that.
But I mean, it's got such a variety of different movies and TV shows.
Yep, it's got movies, it's got shows, it's got animes, cartoons, all
I
of
mean,
it.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Addams Family.
Yep.
The Amazing World of Gumball, The Angry Beavers. I've loved The Angry Beavers.
Angry Beavers was amazing. I bet you Hey Arnold's on there too. And,
Hey Arnold,
Cat Dog, Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko's Modern Life. Do you remember that show?
I love Rocko's Modern Life.
That show had so many like bad things in it that go right over kids' heads. Same story with Johnny Bravo. Like you go back and watch shows.
I love
like
Johnny
that,
Bravo.
And like
Cat Dog is on here.
Like those shows.
Casper's Scare School.
A lot of those shows, they were just like uncharted territory, you know.
But I mean, it's just anyway. So this is a really cool website. So with my recommendation, go to watchcartoonsonline.com because I am probably never gonna leave my desk after discovering this website.
I've created a monster.
You have.
It's okay though. You'll be a happy monster.
I will be one of the happiest monsters ever. I could live in my basement.
That's pretty much what I already do. Sad face.
Anyway, no, but it's like a lot of these cartoons, and I kind of saw this coming a while ago. Kind of going back to the series coming back, because they started bringing back like Scooby-Doo, and which, by the way, is nothing without the original voice actors.
First of all, Scooby-Doo has been nothing for a while. Like
Scooby-Doo, Where Are You is pretty good. That was the one
that
that came out after like the original Scooby-Doo series.
Mm-hmm.
That one's pretty good. Everything after that's pretty much trash.
The best Scooby-Doo movie to me has always been and always will be Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Oh, great movie.
And honestly, like I don't know if you noticed, but the mystery machine they had in that movie was a little different.
I didn't.
You'll notice it doesn't have the flat front. It has a regular front. It's a different van. And it was probably one of my favorite models of the mystery machine.
Oh, I didn't notice that until you just said something.
Yep, you should go back and rewatch it sometime. You'll notice it's a totally different mystery machine.
That's so cool.
And I think they do that a couple times. There's a couple different times they have a different van. And it's probably not quite as hippie psychedelic, in the body design of it. I mean, like with the flat van and the tire on the front. It's not quite like that, but I mean, it's almost more like they did in the live action movies, you know.
Right.
And like they had like the chromed out front end on it and all that stuff. It was literally a hippie mobile.
Anyway, um,
I mean, it's always been a
no,
hippie
but they
mobile.
brought Bugs Bunny back, which was a terrible animation.
Did they?
Yeah, they brought Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck back,
I didn't even know
but
they
they
brought Bugs Bunny back.
reanimated them.
They did.
Yes,
I,
and they look horrible.
you know, it doesn't surprise
But
me.
I turned something on the other day, and Looney Tunes, the original Looney Tunes, was back on.
The original
Yes, with Yosemite Sam and all them.
Yosemite Sam.
And this was the one where he was a pirate.
Oh, pirate Yosemite.
He was a pirate, and he was on a ship, and Bugs Bunny came on. And my favorite scene in that entire episode was when Bugs Bunny is leaning against one of the beams,
Mhm.
and he lights a match and throws it down, and the sign says gunpowder storage. He
Oh,
throws
no.
in the gunpowder storage, and Yosemite Sam runs down there and brings it back up. Runs down there and brings it back up. Runs down there and brings it back up. And then finally he's like, I'm not gonna fall for that again. And then he goes to run for it and blows up the ship.
Oh man.
But it's just like it's things like that. Like it that's violent, yes, but as a kid, I knew that wasn't safe or that wasn't a real thing.
Right. It's like, you know, it's just common sense, you know.
Yeah.
We didn't need all these warning signs when we were kids. We just knew, don't do this. But you know, it's just there's so many times where it's like in this rebooting age where they reboot something and it's so bad.
Oh, they have two stupid dogs on here.
Oh my god, two stupid dogs.
Two stupid
Two
dogs.
stupid dogs. Oh my god.
But I mean, they've got Aladdin. They have Buzz Lightyear from Star Command.
Ooh, that was a good show. I used to watch that every morning
They've
before
got
school.
Stitch, the show.
Lilo and Stitch. Oh yeah. And
No, not the movie, the show.
the show where they were trying to catch all the experiments.
Yes.
Very nice. You know, I think I
Um,
might have to go back and watch that too.
but I mean, it's anyway. Off my little tangent. But no, we are in an era of reboots, and
Some of them are really, really not
um,
good. Like I think
and actually, what Denzel Washington, the Magnificent Seven, is technically a reboot.
Mhm.
They're rebooting an old idea.
Right. And you know, I'm looking forward to see how it goes because I'm hoping it's gonna be one of the good reboots. I gotta say, as far as reboots go, there's one that I particularly hate. I lament and like I will always hate the creators of it. Whoever had the bright idea to reboot Teen Titans.
Teen
And
Titans Go.
yeah, Teen Titans Go, worst reboot ever. Nothing will ever top how bad that reboot is. It is the worst decision in the long, sad history of worst decisions of what to reboot. And I will. It's an unforgivable act. It is because Teen Titans was such a good show, and I'm sure so many people would agree with me on that. I bet if Matt was here, he'd agree with me. Teen Titans was a good show.
Well, he's not here.
Well, he's not here.
Okay. Anyway, and this will bring us down to our final topic. I do have some announcements when this is done, but let's get through this, and I'll make all the announcements I need to.
All right, sounds good.
Um,
So, big craze right now. There's a show called The Stranger Things. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. Some of you probably even watch it. The Stranger Things kids steal the show at Emmys, keeping the audience fed. As Ellen DeGeneres showed us in 2014 when she had pizza delivered to the Academy Awards, sitting all evening in the air-conditioned theater watching people receive statues is hungry work. Jimmy Kimmel understood this long ignored awards show difficulty and enlisted his mom and the child stars from The Stranger Things, Caleb McLaughlin, Millie Bobby Brown, and Gaten Matrazo, to help alleviate the difficulties TV stars faced on Sunday night. Early in the show, Kimmel cut to a shot of his mother backstage amid a huge pile of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches she claimed to have made just about 7,000 of them. Hey, moms can do anything, right? But then Kimmel had the sweet kids from the paranormal Netflix series wheel out their bikes in costumes and helped hand them to the eager audience members. Pretty soon, everyone was chowing down, though Kevin Spacey sneaked backstage to hang out with Mom. On a delicious brown bag lunch that looked like the inside, it even came with a note. If you're allergic to peanuts, well, I guess this is a good vibe because we can only afford one EpiPen. Quipped Kimmel, who then waved to the stage. Thanks, Mom. I mean, personally, I haven't watched the Stranger Things yet, but I heard it is ridiculously good, and it's a Netflix series. I have to put it on my list because Jenna's been watching it without me, and she's like, "Oh my God, you should start watching this show, Mark." And and it's not just her. I've heard it from. I've heard it from people at work. I've heard it from one or two people at school.
Well,
Look, Stranger Things, it's the new show.
and it's funny that Jimmy Kimmel was able to incorporate the stars of that show into the Emmys. I think that's because there's been a lot like, and I think it kind of all started with Ellen DeGeneres last year when she did um
Actually, I think that
the
was
selfie,
2014. Oh no, the selfie.
the selfie.
Oh yeah, that.
Well, it wasn't last year. Might have been a few years ago, but she did the selfie that went viral, and then people started doing selfies just like that selfie. But there were so many celebrities in that one selfie that Ellen took.
I
Um,
remember that now. Yeah, that was last year. I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, so it was kind of cool because at that point people kind of, and I mean they've kind of done pranks all year, but um, I think it was Kevin Hart. It might have been at that same one, maybe the one, um, a different one last year, where he had a whole bunch of Girl Scouts go and sell Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, that's cute.
Um, and that was kind of cool. There were a lot of memes out of that. But it's kind of cool to see, you get these, um, they come up with some of these grand ideas of things, just funny things that you can be interactive with the audience, and I think it's kind of a cool thing.
And another thing too that I thought was really funny is it's like here it is the notes like if you're allergic to peanuts, well I guess this is goodbye because we can only afford one EpiPen.
Yeah,
I don't know if you get that, but that's a little bit of a dig on the EpiPen company. You remember hearing about the lady who it's like she hiked the price of an EpiPen from like a few dollars to like over $400, and then gave herself like a $2 million raise or whatever. Basically like a corporate greed thing, right?
right.
Anybody who has like a deadly allergy and like carries around EpiPens has probably heard about it and probably isn't happy about it because
I carry around an EpiPen and I haven't heard about it.
I carry around an EpiPen too.
Do you really? Oh,
I had a near death experience. Oh,
with what?
we never found out what I was allergic to. We tested everything. I had a dead. I almost died, and we can't even find out what almost killed me.
And so you just have a random EpiPen in case it happens again?
Basically,
I am allergic to
it's
bee stings.
you're allergic to bee stings.
I'm allergic to bee stings.
I'm sorry,
It's okay.
but I mean, yeah,
I stay away from them. They stay away from me.
fair enough. You see,
It's weird but it's really bad when people like walk around. They'll be like, "Oh my god, a bee!" and then they start swatting at it, and I'm like, "Don't do that. I'm allergic." And then they go, "Oh my god." I'm like, "If you leave it alone, it'll go away."
and people don't seem to get that. It's like don't bother it, and it won't bother you unless it's a wasp. So wait,
That is
I do
my
I do
trademark.
I do have to ask if you're allergic to bee stings, are you allergic to wasps as well?
Let's just say I don't test the theory. If it's yellow and black and resembles any what of a bee
It's best to
or a
stay
wasp,
away.
I just stay away.
You know what?
If it can sting me like a bee or a wasp, I stay away.
You know what? That is a sound theory.
I think so too.
Mhm. But yeah, so it's like I said, the corporate lady for EpiPen, yeah, she hiked up the prices from like a couple dollars to like a couple $100, and it's like massive outrage and like just the
My
biggest.
insurance covers mine.
Same here, but still, it's like garbage. Like really, like here it is. People need this in case they almost die, and you're gonna sit here and try and make like just it ain't right.
It's not at all.
But either way, I mean, that's corporate greed for you.
Yes, it is.
So either way, I still think it's kind of cool, like how they did this at the Emmys. That's they had the kids come out like as their characters and ride around their bikes and all that, and give out PB and J sandwiches. And I honestly, super cool. I love it
Yeah.
when they incorporate their characters into stuff like that.
One thing I do love about award shows is how, like you mentioned, that was a quip against the EpiPen company.
Mhm.
I love when they make jokes like that.
Oh yeah.
They make subtle jokes that you have to know what's going on in order to get it, or like I'm a huge country music fan, if in case any of you don't know. So I love to watch, the CMAs, the ACMs, all the different country awards, and it's cool, especially the CMAs with Carrie Underwood and Brad Paisley. They'll sit there and at the beginning, they'll look around the audience and they've got like they'll make jokes about songs that people have written or about people or about what's going on in their life, and it's so funny that even the person laughs too because it's not they don't take offense to it.
Right.
And I love stuff like that. Like when Carrie Underwood and Brad Paisley are funny, really funny about it because before little Jimmy Dickens passed away, there were 2 years in a row when they had him as part of a funny skit. Like, okay, Jennifer Nettles, who was a part of Sugarland and now she's got her solo, she's a country artist.
Mhm.
She was pregnant, and they said, "Don't worry, we've got you covered." And then they had little Jimmy Dickens dressed up as a nurse, and they had a table. They said, "We've got a, they're like, we've got an emergency room already in case you start to go into labor." And then the year that the Nashville drowned, Nashville flooded,
Oh
and they had
yeah.
to repair everything. So they made a quip about that too. They're like in or um to prevent this kind of disaster to happen again, we have a flood awareness system. And they had little Jimmy Dickens walk out with a snorkel. And they're like, when the water gets up to his neck, he starts to scream. And he started to scream, and it was really funny. But
that's
it's things like that where they'll bring people into on the jokes or
that's
things like that.
really
That's stuff
funny.
that I really 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 love.
When it gets up to his neck, he starts to scream. It's funny.
But it was
Uh,
like, but little Jimmy Dickens was like waist high. He was really short.
right.
Yeah. So it was one of those things that's just really funny. Um, because he can incorporate people like that. Um, so that's one of the reasons that I like award shows. Because they can make jokes about what's been going on over the year and what's currently going on and things like that. And I don't know, it's
Definitely.
just it's fun to me.
Definitely. It is. It is. It's all part of the fun. I mean, like little skits and all that kind of, like Whose Line Is Today, where that's another,
That's
like,
back.
it is?
It is.
Really?
Drew Carey isn't on it anymore,
Hmm.
but they have the entire original cast,
Really?
but they have I'm trying to remember her name. She's on the Talk, I guess. It's not the View, it's the Talk. Or it might be the View. Um no, anyway, they got it kind of like an updated set.
That's really cool though. Like again with the reboots, like bringing stuff back. That's cool. That's really cool. Or then it's like you got like Saturday Night Live where they do like skits and all that stuff too,
Right.
which is really cool. It's funny to watch. And here to Saturday Night Live, that's been around for like what, 40 years now? 50?
Yeah.
Something like a
Um
really, really, really long time.
Aisha Tyler is the one that is on the new Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Hmm.
She took kind of the place of Drew Carey. She sits at the desk and does all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Now the thing that they don't do anymore that they used to do is like whoever would quote unquote win because the points didn't mean anything would
Mhm.
get to sit at Drew Carey's desk and you know Drew Carey would have to get in on whatever the skit was.
Right.
That's not a thing anymore. They don't do that, but they still do um the drawing the things out of the hat and some of the old things. They brought some new ideas in. It's really funny. I mean, if you go online and just type in Whose Line into YouTube, you will get so many funny things
Oh yeah, for sure.
from the new one and the old one. It's one of those things that I just think is hilarious because well, there's three main guys on there. You got Colin Mockery. Let's see if I can find it. It's Colin Mockery,
There were a lot
Wayne
of people. There were
Brady,
a lot of people involved with it.
and then there's Ryan Stiles were the three kind of main people when it came to like the people. But then there was Greg Props who was on there several times. Laura Hall and Linda Taylor did like the music and stuff. They're still on there. And now they have a special guest.
A
That
special guest, you say?
Yep, they have special guests now.
That's cool.
Um, so like they'll bring a special guest in and they'll be a part of the skit. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
But those three are the main ones, and then they've got a fourth guy that'll kind of swap out. They've had um, Kay from Key and Peele was on there.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really cool that they can reboot
So,
a show like this.
definitely, very cool.
So anyway, so I think that's it for topics. What do you think?
I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think talk about reboots is a good way to kind of finish it off. We'll see if we reboot it next week. No. But no, really, a lot of exciting stuff coming out soon, and some of it's gonna be reboots, some of it's not. We'll see how it goes. I'm for one looking forward to Magnificent Seven. I want to see that.
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
So when I do go see that, I'll be sure to let you guys know how it is on here.
Good. Thank you once again for joining us.
Yeah, anytime.
So I've got a couple announcements to make. All of them are good. The first announcement is that Topic Talks is now on iTunes.
Oh yes, I remember you telling me about this earlier.
Topic
this week.
Talks is now on iTunes. It is a free download. So any of you Apple users can download it.
Awesome.
We're still on YouTube. We're kind of on SoundCloud. I've got to go in and delete a whole bunch of the old episodes so we can upload some new ones. We're still on Spreaker because that's who I broadcast through. So that's kind of cool. We're expanding that way. And I'm coming up with some new additions to the show. I'm not going to quite reveal what they are. But I'm hoping next week I can add some of them. I feel like it'll spice up the show a little bit rather than just us talking all the time. So I've got a couple minor changes that I'm gonna. Well, I should say additions that I'm gonna make to the show.
Guys, he's kicking me to the curb.
Not at all. Not at all. I could not do the show if it wasn't for you, Mark. So anyway, so those are a few of the things that are gonna be going on. And I'm just excited. This thing is getting bigger than I ever thought it would be, and it's getting really popular. I mean, I was looking at the numbers the other day at how many views I get, per episode, and when I first started this, I didn't have any views, I didn't, nobody was listening while I was broadcasting. They all listened after, and it was like 4 people. Right. But I mean, the number of views we have is awesome. The fact that I can submit to a company like Apple and get put on iTunes, I think that's pretty cool. I was really excited when I got the text. I actually jumped out of my seat and I got all excited. It really made my day when I found that out.
That is that is so cool. When super exciting news.
Yes. So I'm really excited about that. So anyway, so that's some of my exciting news. Like I said, I'm gonna be adding some stuff to the show, and I'm really excited. So if you guys have any changes you'd like me to make, or you have any suggestions of things you'd like me to add to the show, you can comment on the bottom of this episode. You can always hit me up on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I am on Snapchat. I'm on pretty much everything. You could probably hit Mark up on his Facebook and things like that.
Yeah, I don't bite unless you want me
to. Anyway, so those are all the announcements I really wanted to make. So, when you kind of see the changes, let me know what you think. If you don't like them, let me know. If you really like them, let me know. If you think it adds something to the show, if you want me to add something to kind of make it a little bit more entertaining, or if you like what we're doing, let us know. We always want feedback. I know I try to say this every week, but it is really important to us.
It really does help us out.
So if you give us that feedback and let us know what we're doing right, we can kind of alter the show, and help fit it to more what you're looking for.
Definitely.
So I think that's pretty much it. You got anything else?
I'd say that's a pretty good wrap right there. We'll be back next week as always.
Okay, guys. Well, as always, I'm Aaron Klingingsmith.
And I'm Mark Wilson.
Signing off.